August 7th, 2025, 8:43 p.m., Memorial Hospital, Tampa, Florida. The ER's sterile hum shattered as Mark Thompson's gurney crashed through the doors, his sweat-soaked face pale under flickering lights. A triage nurse peeled back his pant leg, and her breath caught. A gaping wound, black and oozing, pulsed with unnatural life. What began as a mosquito bite on a construction site was now a nightmare burrowing into his flesh. Mark, 42, a foreman who laughed off pain, had ignored it too long. One small scratch, one fleeting moment, had unleashed a horror no one saw coming. What could turn a man's body against him in days? Stay with us as we uncover a story that'll make you check your skin twice and ask, what's hiding in the wounds you ignore? Mark Thompson woke at 5:30 a.m., the Tampa humidity already pressing against the skin. A construction foreman, 42, he was built like the rebar he inspected, tough, unyielding. 15 years on sites had taught him to shrug off pain. Twisted ankles got duct tape. Sunburns got grit. He gulped black coffee, kissed his wife Sarah, and ruffled the hair of Emma, 8, and Jake, 6, before heading to a downtown high-rise build. The site buzzed, cranes groaning, welders sparking, mosquitoes swarming in the August heat. Mid-morning, inspecting rebar, a sting hit his shin. He lifted his pant leg. A red bump, no bigger than a dime. Mosquito bite, he thought, scratching it and moving on. Pain was just noise. Days later, the bump changed. Red deepened to purple, warm to the touch, itching like madness. By day 5, a throbbing ache settled in, sharp enough to make him wince mid-step. Mark chalked it up to long hours, maybe a pulled muscle. Sarah noticed first, one evening over dinner. "You're limping," she said, her nurse's instinct sharp. "Tweak something," he grunted, avoiding her eyes. That night, changing for bed, Sarah saw his leg and froze. The bump was nickel-sized, black its core, ringed by swollen, angry flesh. "This isn't right, Mark," she said, voice firm. "Doctor, tomorrow." He muttered about deadlines. Concrete pours waited for no one, but Sarah's glare won. "We've got kids who need you. Don't play hero." Dr. Rodriguez, their family doctor, pressed the wound, noting its heat and hardness. "Cellulitis," he said. "Bacterial infection, likely from a cut." He prescribed high-dose antibiotics, ordered sterile bandaging, and sent Mark home. Hope flickered. Mark popped pills. Sarah cleaned the wound nightly. But the wound had other plans. Pain sharpened, waking him in sweats, leg pulsing like a heartbeat. By day 6, he hobbled, his crew whispering as their iron-tough boss faltered. Sarah's face tightened at each bandage change. Yellow pus wept, gray flesh spread, the smell metallic and wrong. Dr. Rodriguez's referral to Dr. Ella Chun, a dermatologist, came fast. "This isn't normal," he said, eyes grim. Dr. Chun, 20 years in rare infections, frowned at the wound's raw cavity, its peeling edges. Tests piled up, blood work, cultures, tissue samples, screens for fungi, parasites, necrotizing fasciitis. Samples went to a disease lab. "Go home, rest," she said. Waiting was torture. Mark's leg burned, the wound sinking deeper, reeking of decay. He stopped eating, sleeping, his face hollow. Emma asked, "Why is Daddy sad?" Jake wondered, "Why is he slow?" Sarah's answers faltered, her smile forced. The kids deserved normalcy, but normalcy was slipping away. Have you ever brushed off a small hurt, thinking it'd fade? What if it was the start of something you couldn't ignore? Thursday evening. Mark dragged himself home from the site, each step a blade in his shin. Sarah found him on their bed, shirt soaked, staring at his leg like it wasn't his. Fluid stained his pants. She rolled up the leg, gasping. The wound, now 2 inches wide, was sunken, oozing, its jagged edges black and raw. Muscle glistened, but something else caught her eye. A ripple, a twitch beneath the skin. "Hospital. Now," she said. Mark, too weak to argue, nodded. At Memorial Hospital's ER, the triage nurse blanched at the wound, rushing him past the crowded waiting room. Dr. Williams, an ER surgeon, probed the decay. noting movement, not spasms, something alive. Surgical team, stat, he ordered. In the operating room, tension crackled. Mark, under anesthesia, lay still, monitors beeping. Dr. Williams cut deeper past necrotic tissue and froze. Something's here, he said. Tiny white forms wriggled to the surface. Maggots, dozens squirming in the flesh. The room went silent. A nurse gagged. Myiasis, Dr. Williams said, voice low. Flies had laid eggs in a cut, likely that first day on the site. Maybe near trash, dirty equipment. The larvae hatched, fed, burrowed. For 3 hours, the team extracted over 200 larvae, flushed a wound, debrided dead tissue, and sutured what remained. Mark's vitals steadied, the fire in his leg dimming. Post-op, Dr. Chin visited, explaining the infestation. It's rare but happens in warm climates. The larvae kept the wound clear of bacteria, which is why tests showed nothing. Sarah, at Mark's bedside, clutched his hand, her relief laced with horror. Mark woke groggy. The pain dulled. Maggots, he rasped, disbelieving. Sarah nodded, tears falling. You're okay now. But the emotional toll lingered. Mark's invincibility was shattered. He'd ignore a wound that nearly cost his leg, maybe his life. At home, recovering, he flinched at every itch, checked the skin obsessively. Emma and Jake tiptoed around him, sensing his fragility. The site investigation revealed trash bins near Mark's work area, a breeding ground for flies. He pushed for better hygiene, covered bins, regular cleanups. His crew listened, their respect deepened by his survival. But nights were hard. Mark woke sweating, dreaming of wriggling beneath his skin. Sarah held him, whispering, "It's gone." He wasn't sure he believed her. What have you ignored, thinking it was small, only to find it growing out of control? What's moving in your life unnoticed? Mark's physical recovery took weeks. Antibiotics and dressings healed the wound, leaving a faint scar on his shin. But the mental scars ran deeper. He returned to the site, slower, quieter, no longer the foreman who laughed off pain. He inspected equipment, enforced hygiene, taught his crew about early warning signs. "Don't wait," he'd say, voice firm. Small things become big. His tough guy mask was gone, replaced by a man who'd face his limits. At home, he hugged Emma and Jake tighter, read bedtime stories, lingered at dinner. Sarah noticed a change. Mark listened more, shared more, his silence giving way to words. One evening, he sat on the porch, Sarah beside him, the kids asleep. He traced the scar, barely visible now. "I thought I was stronger than this," he said. Sarah took his hand. "You are. You fought it." He nodded, but his eyes held doubt. The memory of movement, of life inside him, haunted quiet moments. He joined a support group for workplace injuries, meeting others who'd ignored wounds, infections, burns, fractures. Their stories echoed his, denial, then crisis, then change. Sharing eased the weight, made the nightmares less sharp. Mark and Sarah advocated for site safety, speaking at local unions about hygiene, first aid, vigilance. The city tightened regulations, covered bins, pest control, worker training. Mark's case became a cautionary tale, saving others from similar fates. One night, Emma drew a picture, Daddy with superhero cape, a tiny bug at his feet. "You beat it," she said. Mark smiled, tucking it into his wallet. The scar wasn't just a mark. It was a reminder to listen to his body, his family, his fears. He still checked his skin, still woke at odd hours, but the panic faded. Sarah's touch grounded him. The kids' laughter rebuilt him. The site hummed again, but Mark worked smarter, not harder. He wasn't invincible, but he was alive, and that was enough. Have you ever carried a scar that changed you? What did it teach you about the battles you can't see? Mark Thompson's story started with a bite, a speck of pain he ignored, until it became a living nightmare. A fly's eggs, laid in a moment of exposure, nearly stole his leg, his life, his family. But from horror came healing, not just of flesh, but a man who learned vulnerability isn't weakness. Mark's scar, faint now, speaks louder than his old bravado, reminding him to listen, to act, to love fiercely. He's no superhero, But he's a survivor, teaching others to eat small warnings before they grow. What's your mosquito bite? A nagging pain, a quiet fear. Don't wait for it to move. Check it, face it, share it. Tell us below, what small sign are you ignoring? Subscribe, and let's keep uncovering the truths that save us.